Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping the week's nerdy news from the source wall to the negative zone and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson, and with me, as always, is Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
That's the first time in a long time you've referenced something that I didn't get.
The negative zone or the source wall?
Source wall.
Source wall is like it's a DC thing where like on the very edge of the universe is this like wall that is the source of the universe, I guess. Like it's kind of ill-defined. And
Weird.
There has been occasion where, you know, Superman or somebody has to, you know, there's like a villain that is so unstoppable and so ruthless that he flies them to the source wall and pins them there so they cannot escape or wreak havoc on the rest of the universe.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
I learned something today. Here we go.
There you go.
Game on.
Here
today.
we go. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We have a
Punch
number of
and pie?
stories for you. What's that?
Punch and pie. Do we have punch and pie?
We have Punch and Pie.
Okay, cool.
Wow. I haven't heard a reference to the South Park movie in quite some time. Hitting all, we're hitting the main three universes tonight. Only one story in one of them, but we're giving you some Star Wars, some DC, and some Marvel stuff. But we're starting out with a quick mention of the strike, the Writers Guild of America strike that we talked about last week. And this isn't necessarily about that specifically, but it should be noted that SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, apparently is also in negotiations with major studios. And this week, the members of SAG are currently voting on whether or not to authorize a strike, should a strike be necessary. So usually, if a union starts sending ballots out to their members to vote to whether or not they should authorize a strike, that means that they're closer to a strike than than not, I guess. So I feel like we're just a step closer to having all the writers in Hollywood and possibly also the actors in Hollywood on strike as well. And if that happens, nobody's filming anything. Those things that we told you last week or 2 weeks ago that were still in production, they're not going to be in production anymore. If no one's writing them and no one's acting in them, those things are not moving forward.
No, because if
you
anyone missed it a decade ago, SAG and the Television and Radio Guild combined. So it's all, SAG-AFTRA is like everyone.
Yeah. Yes.
There's no stone unturned. Everyone will be on strike.
Yeah. And that means that in addition to, acting and filming, I'm pretty sure that includes like things like promotion.
Yeah.
Showing up on talk shows, doing interviews,
showing up at Comic-Con, which is coming up.
Comic-Con, exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say, Steve. Yeah. So, who knows if if everybody's on strike and it lasts as long as we think at least the writer strike is going to last, then Comic-Con's not going to, maybe not be so exciting. It's just going to be James Gunn talking for a half hour, not bring anybody else on stage, followed by Kevin Feige talking for a half hour, not bring anybody else out on stage.
Right. Don't get us wrong. We'll still talk way too much about it. But
yeah, it'll be great, but it'll be subdued. Somewhat.
Very different. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that we're going to have lines out the door at, Hall H or whatever they normally have. So anyway, quick update on the strike for you. And moving right into a segment that we usually open with when we have it, but we just had to sneak that strike thing in there soon. And again, getting down there on segments that we're going to do in this, versions of this segment that we're going to do because time's running out for Flash Watch. This is a pretty quick one. A few weeks ago or a month ago or so, we talked about how Tom Cruise apparently had seen The Flash and loved it so much he called the director, Andy Muschietti, to tell him that it was such a great movie. Apparently now, in continuing the tradition of random celebrities seeing advanced screenings of this movie and loving it, Stephen King, noted horror and suspense author Stephen King, has seen The Flash. Tweeted this week, quote, "I got an advanced screening of The Flash today. As a rule, I don't care a lot for superhero movies, but this one is special. It's heartfelt, funny, and eye-popping. I loved it." So I guess that's a pretty rave review from Stephen King, considering he claims to not care about superhero movies and liked it enough to tweet about it. There was a fan that responded underneath that tweet tagging James Gunn and saying, "James Gunn, is this true?" And James Gunn responded, "Hell yes, it is." So
hey, that works.
Stephen King and Tom Cruise add their names to the list of people that love this movie. Coming out a little over a month,
something like that.
2 months. We were just talking about release dates the other day.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Yeah, we had a full run. Like the two of us offline went down through, I think, all the way to December of this year, and I don't remember any of them.
Oh, but no, it is June though, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
It
June.
is sometime in June.
Because
yes.
June is Spider-Verse, The Flash, and Indiana Jones 5.
Yep.
Man, that's what a month. Can't wait. And we're only weeks away. So close to Spider-Verse coming out.
Oh yeah. I'm still here wholly for August and Ahsoka. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is a good summer. Imagine we are getting all these things this summer. But Steve, imagine if they're all great. Wouldn't it be great if none of these things are bad?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I love all of these movies. It would just be the best summer of nerdery ever.
As dumb as it sounds, I think I need Spider-Verse to hit the hardest just because I'm holding it to such a level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like everything else, it's like Ahsoka, who knows? Like, yes, it's going to be Rebel Season 5. That's great. But whatever, like there's no bar to be set. Into the Spider-Verse set the bar so goddamn high for this movie.
Yeah, it really did, dude. And let me tell you, I watched it with my son and my wife this Saturday because I had plans and they got rained out. It was a rainstorm here. And he had seen the trailer for Across the Spider-Verse for the second one.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Can we see that?" And I was like, "I think so. Do you remember?" Because we watched the first one with him like years ago, like during COVID or whatever, and he doesn't remember it because he was too young.
Right.
But it's a PG movie. It's rated PG. So we watched it, and we watched it again, and he loved it. He thought it was so good, and it had been a while since I'd seen it, and both me and my wife just kept looking at each other like, "I can't believe how good this movie is. Like, it's just, it's just perfect. It's just so good. It's just so good." So I agree with you. Like now my hype for Across the Spider-Verse is higher than it even was because the old one is now, fresh in my mind about how good it is. And speaking of how good it is, I'm going to jump to our second DC story real quick. Because we're kind of on the topic of it, but an interview with GQ, a video interview, you can find it on YouTube or the GQ site. James Gunn, writer director of the Guardians of the Galaxy films and new president of DC Films, was asked to talk about his top 5 favorite comic book movies. And he named as his top 5 favorite comic book films, number 5 was Deadpool, number 4 was Old Boy, which I did not realize was based on a manga, I believe. A History of Violence, which I think is an incredible film. Superman, the movie. And his number 1 was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And he talked about how incredible the movie is, that it is just flawless the entire time and doesn't make any missteps at any point. And he also mentioned how inspiring it was to see like what animation can do, which made me like, ooh, is he trying to like take some Spider-Verse energy to put it into some of his like Creature Commandos or whatever other animation stuff that he's planning on? Because if so, awesome. If you're gonna steal from the best.
Right.
Steal from Spider-Verse for sure. So yeah, dude, we're only a couple weeks out from Across the Spider-Verse, and can't wait.
I should go back and rewatch Into the Spider-Verse. That
100% you should.
I saw it
100%.
I think I watched it a couple months ago randomly, but it was like, one of those where it was on in the background. I should sit down and spend some time with it and actually rewatch it instead of
highly
just
recommend.
ancillarily have it on.
Do you think your son is like a year younger than my son? Do you think he would handle it or enjoy it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's seen the
for it?
whole OT for Star Wars, so similar. Like he was watching me play Jedi Survivor this morning, so
right. Yeah, he could probably handle it.
Yeah, I think he'd be fine as long as once he got past the big Kingpin stuff, he'd be fine.
Oh, you mean, spoiler alert for Into the Spider-Verse. If you haven't seen this movie, then you should fast forward.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it now and then
go
come back to
stop
the pod,
listening to us and go watch this best Spider-Man movie that's ever been made.
Whatever we do doesn't hold a candle to anything Into the Spider-Verse does.
No, if you haven't seen it, go watch it right now and then come back and hear us talk about this. Spoiler, 3, 2, 1. Steve, do you mean when Kingpin murders Peter Parker with his bare hands?
Yeah, that'd be it.
In the first act?
Yeah. That would be the one.
Yep. Insane that happens in a PG-rated Spider-Man movie.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. And my son turns to me and goes, what did he just hit Spider-Man? I go, yeah. He goes, did he kill him? Yeah. He's dead? Is Spider-Man dead? It's like, yeah, buddy, he is. What? His mind was blown. But he wasn't scared or sad because the focus is so much on Miles. He was so invested in Miles.
Spider-Man's an ancillary character until Spider-Man and Spider-Man show up.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Because you meet Peter B. Parker 5 minutes later in the movie, so you're like, oh, okay, well, here's a Peter Parker for me. Yeah.
He kind of looks the same. He's got a little gut, but it's okay.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, dude, it's so good.
Yeah.
Easily one of the greatest superhero movies
even
ever made.
that scene where he's bouncing oh god, right after they meet Peter B. Parker, I'm just like yeah.
Oh, they're stuck together and he's
just dragging him along. I'm like, that's
so
just, it's hilarious.
I want to keep talking about
we
Spider-Verse.
could keep going.
We should go back to the show.
Yeah, let's go back to the actual rundown. We're gonna pull a Star Wars with Spider-Verse.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. And if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. I would literally say it's probably in my top 3 all-time superhero films, and 100% the best Spider-Man movie that they've ever made.
Right, and in that 3, it could fluctuate from 1, 2, 3 at any given moment. It's that good.
Absolutely. All right. Proper DC news. Well, it's not even really news. It's just kind of an update. We've been talking since James Gunn has been named the co-president or co-CEO, whatever the actual title is, of DC Studios, beginning to shepherd his new universe. One of the big things that we've loved about his time so far, having not actually produced anything yet, but has announced some things. But even before he announced anything, Steve, you and I were really big fans of him being a voice for the DC universe, which had not had one before. DC was always plagued with announcements that didn't go anywhere, and rumors and detractions and accusations and all this kind of stuff. And James Gunn really kind of jumped on social media to be the one that be like, this is what's happening. This is not happening. I can't talk about this, but this is not happening. This rumor is not true. This rumor is not true. This is not what we're doing. Don't trust this person. Really coming out and debunking or clarifying stuff, which, I know you appreciate as well. But for me, for a DC fan, it was like, oh, thank God somebody is finally righting the ship. Okay, I feel like somebody is in charge of this. Whether or not you like James Gunn and his work, I happen to love his work, but
I was gonna say,
I feel like
the amount we fanboy over him, if somebody doesn't like James Gunn's work,
they're not listening.
They're probably not listening to us.
Yeah, but even if you didn't, I feel like the oh wow, this is new for DC. Somebody, Marvel. It's not like Kevin Feige comes out and debunks every rumor, but DC has had so much junk thrown at it over the last 10 years while they've been fits and starts trying to start their universe. It was like a breath of fresh air. But this week, just a couple days ago, James Gunn posted the following on Twitter. He said, "I'm getting barraged with bullshit DC rumors this morning. I'll just reiterate the general rule not to believe anything unless it comes from me or Peter," meaning his producing partner, Peter Safran. "But unless it's especially egregious, I'm going to slow down on calling it out. Sorry, I know, it's one of my favorite traditions. There are 3 reasons for this. 1, some people are making up lies to get attention from me or to get clicks, and I don't want to encourage that. 2, I've read 100 rumors this morning. One of them is half true. So I don't want to be used as a way for people to throw nonsense at the wall until something sticks. 3, I'm storyboarding Superman Legacy, and I don't have time. Have a great day." So I feel like this was kind of inevitable. The busier that he gets in the DCU, the less time he's going to have to smack down, you know, rumors and things like that. I will miss it, but you know, clearly he's not going to completely retire from it if they're especially egregious and things like that. So won't necessarily have quite as much to read into from James Gunn's Twitter feed moving forward. But he also this week, in response to the Superman casting rumors that we talked about last week on the show, he said that he would never comment on any actors that are auditioning for any role in any of his movies, and that only one character has been cast in Superman Legacy, and it is not one of the standard Superman characters. So he's not Clark Kent, it's not Perry White, it's not Jimmy Olsen, it's not Lois Lane. This led immediately to resurfaced rumors of it being Jason Momoa and that he will be playing Lobo in the film. Now, this rumor has been around for a long time. This specific rumor came from somebody, Steve, that you and I trust, Jeff Snyder from the Hot Mic podcast and Above the Line. Actually, we're going to talk about a number of Jeff Snyder scoops. He dropped some hot scoops this week, and one of them being that Jason Momoa, you know, he keeps hearing that Lobo is going to be in Superman Legacy, which would make sense. I think is a cool idea. You know, because we were talking about in our Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 review, I said something about how when I was watching the movie at one point, I was like, oh man, this is the guy that's going to make Superman. And it made me really excited. And although the Superman movies that we have been of varying quality, obviously, none of them, I don't think, have really embraced the weirdness that is out there in the Superman universe. Like, there's some weird stuff. Like, there's crazy aliens, and just his villains are wacky and insane, some of them. And Lobo is a gateway. You know, he's like an alien bounty hunter who looks like Jason Momoa on a space motorcycle. Like, that's weird stuff. And I think having him in a Superman movie not only is true to Superman lore and DC Comics lore because they're adversaries quite a bit, but it also helps him build a universe. Because, like, Superman Legacy is, yes, it's a Superman movie, but he's also, like, this is his first step into building his DCU. So it's a world building, it's got to be a world building movie on some level, as well as servicing just like Superman and his like core characters. So I think having Lobo in there is a good idea. Jeff Snyder also said that he's hearing that they are looking to cast Mr. Terrific for a role in Superman Legacy as well. Michael Holt character, Mr. Terrific, which would be cool. I feel like he's a Justice League guy. He's not necessarily affiliated with Superman often, but certainly they could bump into each other. So,
well, that's always the thing with these though too, is like even when they said something's been cast but it isn't a main, you know, Superman person, it could just be like a random cameo or like something that's, yes, it's a named character that they're going to get, you know, whatever hits they have to for where they're listed in the credits, but it might be, you know, somebody shows up for 2-3 minutes, and like Lobo, it could just be a random one-off reference to him or something along those lines to set up further things.
Yeah, or he could run into him in like he could be in some outer space situation and run into Lobo. And that doesn't necessarily mean he's like the villain of the movie or anything, you know. Could be. He could
There's
be
a lot of there's a lot of question marks. Do you think Gunn leading Superman Legacy off with Lobo as the villain would be I guess that would be a James Gunn way to do it, but
yeah, he made a Suicide Squad movie where they fight Starro the Conqueror at the end.
right, which was amazing, but
yeah, amazing.
yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, Lobo is like, sometimes he's like an anti-hero. You know, he's a bounty hunter, so he's kind of like out for himself. He's not necessarily evil. You know, he's just trying to make money. So like, but that runs into conflict with Superman if he's trying to bounty hunt somebody that Superman cares about or whatever.
I've got it. They should make a spin-off TV series, The Book of Lobo.
The Book of Lobo Fett?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh, what was I just going to say? Oh, I was going to say, do you think, here's a question for you. Michael Rooker is in every James Gunn movie, right?
Yep.
That's like a thing. He loves Michael Rooker, puts him in every single one of his movies. Michael Rooker was in the Suicide Squad as Savant, and spoiler alert, dies pretty early on in that movie.
Spoiler alert for the first 7 minutes of the movie.
The first 7 minutes of that movie, yeah. Is there a chance that Michael is Michael Rooker going to be in Superman Legacy? And is it weird if it's going to be like technically the same universe? Like this guy looks just like this guy that died in Suicide Squad. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that'd be. I mean, same thing with Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because Nathan Fillion was
I can't remember who he was. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I remember he was in it and he pieced out just like everybody else.
Well, no, his character is coughing. He's actually not dead when like, because there's like a song break when the credits hit and they're like going over all the bodies that are there, and he's the only one that's still alive. But I don't know. I feel like same with Nathan Fillion. Like both those actors are better than those characters. Like he cast those roles thinking that he not thinking he was going to be in charge of the DC universe 2 years later. And you know, I'm sure at this point they could write it off like, oh yeah, the Flash ran back in time and changed all this stuff.
Right.
You know, like however the Flash is going to end could open the door for anything. I think this just popped in my head right now after I asked you the question about Michael Rooker. Michael Rooker would be great Perry White, like editor of the Daily Planet, Perry White. I can see that working really well.
Yeah, he gives off that. What is it with? You got Perry White, you got J. Jonah Jameson. Like, if you're a newspaper editor in all of comics,
the older and grizzled and cigar smoking, and
crotchety and pissed off at life, and Michael Rooker would be awesome with it.
He'd be great. Yeah. Perry White's got does not have an antagonistic relationship with the title character, though. That's the difference right there.
Yeah, there's
Perry
no.
White likes Clark Kent a lot. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's all the DC stuff that we had, because we already talked about James Gunn's top 5 favorite comic book films, which isn't really a story, just cool. And that's a cool video, listening to him talk about stuff like that, listening to him talk about Superman, knowing that he's going to make a Superman movie and like what he likes about it and stuff. It's like, okay. Big fan of the Fortress of Solitude, eh? Okay, we'll see what happens. Moving into some Marvel stuff. Marvel did not have a great week, I don't think. We got some bummer, well, not totally bummer. Let's just get into it. We got some release dates for shows that we were not sure were even going to come out this year. Loki Season 2 and Echo both had been rumored to be pushed to 2024 under Disney. Bob Iger talking about companies tightening belts and not going to spend as much money, and they've been spending too much and thought things were going to be pushed. For a while, we thought Strange Adventures. Secret Invasion.
There you
I don't
go.
know why I couldn't think. Yeah. I was like, it's an S word. It's definitely an S word.
Strange Adventures was so far off that I was even lost as to where you were going. I'm like, I got nothing.
I had to say it to get over the hump. I had to say it and acknowledge that I was wrong. we thought Secret Invasion was going to be the only Marvel show that we got in 2023. Now we know that it's going to be Secret Invasion in June. And then in October 6th, we're getting Loki season 2, first second season of any Marvel show. Will begin to debut on October 6th and release weekly, as is tradition. But hold up, Echo series based spinoff of the Hawkeye series with the character of Echo. Will be dropping all of its episodes at once on November 29th, a little over a month after Loki came out. So if I feel like Netflix started the whole binging thing, right?
Yep.
And really conditioned everybody to when other streamers started really ramping up their output and releasing things weekly. People were like, "Oh, what do you mean it's coming out weekly? I can't binge it all." It's like, yo, this is how television has worked forever.
Right.
Like, this is the normal thing. Netflix is the outlier here.
Right. They just happened to be the only game in town and was doing the binge.
Exactly. They were the only game in town. And other streamers emulated that, I think.
Yeah.
But now pretty much everyone has realized, besides Netflix, because they feel like they can't give it up, all the other streamers have realized, like, oh no, this keeps people talking about our shows for much longer than a weekend. If we drop all 10 episodes at once,
right,
you talk about it for a week and then it's gone. You know, if we release Loki over 10 weeks or whatever, people will talk about it for 10 weeks.
Well, yeah. I mean, it keeps it in the cultural zeitgeist, but it also, from their standpoint, keeps people subscribed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, Steve, taking all that into consideration, Echo dropping all of its episodes at once on November 29th, what does that tell you about Echo?
It tells me that they think Echo's a pile of ass.
Tells me that Echo's bad.
Yeah.
Echo's probably bad.
Yep.
And there's an outlying chance that they just realize that it would work better as a binge than stretched out over weeks. That's possible. Hypothetically. But when you take that information and you match it up with something that our buddy Jeff Snyder said this week on his podcast, he said the following regarding Echo: "I heard the show was kind of plagued by issues throughout production. I heard that it was a mess and that the show came in so bad that they basically had to reshoot the entire thing. I'm told that they originally shot 8 episodes and Kevin Feige thought it was unreleasable. So they talked about cutting it down to 4 episodes or 6 in post, but then they ended up reshooting it. So my source did not actually know how many episodes they wound up with, but yeah, apparently it needed a top-down rejiggering and that Kevin was not happy with it."
Not great, Bob.
So they had to Not great, Bob. So they had to shoot this show, according to Jeff Snyder, they had to shoot this show twice. And because the first time was, according to Kevin Feige, unreleasable. So apparently it was improved because they're going to release it, but it seems like they don't think that it's going to be able to hold an audience week to week. Hence, they are dropping it all at once, late November. And that's when Hawkeye came out. Hawkeye came out in late November because it was like Christmassy. It was taking place at Christmassy time, and that was still a week to week. So it's not like they're scared of it being holiday times or seasonal or whatever, you know?
Yeah, it just feels like it may be one that they, at this point, can't release for a tax write-off or anything, or can't like not put out for a tax write-off, and they're just like, well, we greenlit it, might as well throw it up there.
Yeah. And that's a bummer for me because this was a show that like I was actually kind of looking forward to because I have no preconceived expectations of this character,
right,
or what I want the show to be. I was like, that actually might be the most entertaining of what has been announced for me because it'll be new and fresh. And it'll, you know, it won't be bogged down by continuity necessarily. But apparently, I don't know, not going to be as good as I was hoping.
Yeah.
But you brought up something that we should touch on. It was also announced this week. I didn't put this in the rundown. You mentioned they don't want to just bury it for a tax write-off. Disney, well, one, apparently last week we forgot to talk about it. Disney announced that Disney Plus and Hulu are going to be merging into one app
Yep.
which is wild. And what
Well,
does that look like?
it's
Because
not
Hulu
it's not
doesn't
that
just have
wild.
Disney stuff.
It's not that wild because literally everywhere else in the world, it's like that.
Yeah. But like Hulu doesn't just have Disney stuff. It's got stuff from other networks too. So like, isn't that gonna be weird?
I
I don't
did the other deals run out, and
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't think so.
I want to say it might be primarily like Disney or Disney controlled content at this point.
Um, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I don't watch enough Hulu
Yeah,
to know about it, I guess.
I watch Letterkenny on
Um,
there, and that's about it.
yeah.
Um, but
But anyway, Disney announced this week that they are going to be deleting a lot of shows and movies that were made specifically for Hulu and specifically for Disney Plus, including Why the Last Man and Willow, the series Willow that just came out 6 months ago. Um,
I still don't get the
and
Why the
a
Last
lot.
Man thing.
What's that?
I still don't get the Why the Last Man thing. I mean, I definitely don't get the Willow thing, but like
I know.
how that didn't get greenlit for a second season, I don't know.
It deserved so much better. It was so good.
Yeah.
It deserved so much better. But like, when you just like try to get more people to watch Willow, like advertise it a little bit more, and you're just, it's not getting a physical release. So once it's gone, it's gonna be gone forever. Like you won't be able to watch it ever again, forever.
You know
It's
what
just
I
gone.
think? I think what happened with Willow is I think they overestimated because the people that loved it and embraced it as kids really came out vocally, but I
Yeah.
think they overestimated how many people actually saw it as a kid.
Yeah, I think they did too. I'm not like, I'm just shocked that they would make and release a show and 6 months later, like delete it from existence.
Yeah,
You know?
fair enough.
And that's what this is. If they're taking a tax write off, that they're like legally bound to never show it unless they give the money back or something, and they're not going to do that. And this is what HBO Max was doing with Batgirl and other stuff that they took off their streaming service. All those episodes of Sesame Street and Scooby Doo and stuff that they just deleted. Um, you know, artists, people, writers, actors worked really hard on these shows, and now they're just gone forever, just forever. It's so shitty. It's just so shitty. And I feel like this is more, we talked about when HBO Max was doing it, that like streaming bubble, I think, has burst, and this is the fallout from it. And companies are now ditching stuff so they don't have to pay residuals and licenses on these things anymore that people aren't watching as much or whatever. So
Yeah, no, and I pulled up the list too. You have like The World According to Jeff Goldblum, which was
yeah,
absolute gold.
I know. I was shocked that they're getting rid of that.
Yeah, Turner and Hooch. I didn't know that still existed. Um, but like
Yeah, they did like a series.
Marvel's Hero Project, like really,
Yeah.
that you're canning that of all things,
I know.
like that's a Marvel show about real life kids that have like overcome serious issues and
yeah.
stuff. Like
Mhm.
that's what you're canning.
Yeah, man.
Pentatonics around the world for the holidays, like okay, cool, whatever. Like that, I'm sure has quite a subscriber base or people that would want to tune into it.
I'm sure people will watch it every Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a seasonal thing, but like people will tune in and watch that.
The Mighty Ducks.
What are you doing?
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
Whatever.
I know. So I know you can look up this list that Steve's looking if you want, and I think it was like May 26th, so it's like a week away.
Yeah.
So start if you wanted to see any of these things, watch them because they're literally going to be gone forever. Like they won't exist anywhere else in any format for the rest of time. So,
right. Unless Disney sells off the rights to them, which likely isn't going to happen.
Likely is not going to happen. Just so shitty. Well, I thought I was going to say something else about this. Oh, it's like I was texting with you about. They also announced this week that finally the Indiana Jones films are coming to Disney Plus, and I've been just dumbfounded why it took so long for them to get on there. But they're all going to be, and they announced it the day after I bought Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom on Blu-ray. Because I watched that. I watched like a lesser quality version of that movie that I get on my buddy's Plex server. I've watched it a lot in the last couple years, and it's become like a comfort movie. So I was like, I need a better looking quality I need a better quality version of this movie to watch. I'm gonna keep watching it so much, and so I bought it on Blu-ray, and then the next day there's like, oh, it's coming to Disney Plus in 4K, and I was like, oh, I just wasted my money on this Blu-ray. And then I saw this announcement of how they're deleting stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna hold on to that Blu-ray because like it's starting to. Not that any of these shows got physical releases, because that again costs money for corporation to do, and they don't want to be doing that. But I mean, I can't imagine that Disney's going to start getting rid of like Star Wars movies or shows from their service, but if they do, I want to make sure I own them on Blu-ray. I feel like I read stuff like this, and it's pushing me back towards physical media, which I was huge into for a long time. I got out of. I've donated and sold a lot of like my Blu-ray collection or whatever that I had, but like I'm starting to think that I should occasionally start picking these up, because who knows if HBO Max is like, oh yeah, we're getting rid of all the DC stuff before the James Gunn universe. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
oh, okay, I'm glad that I own Man of Steel on Blu-ray or whatever, you know, like I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. Anyway.
Well, you know what else I don't like?
What don't you like?
That Kang Dynasty seems to be stuck in weird development hell without a writer.
That's right. Avengers Kang Dynasty apparently has lost its writer. Jeff Loveness, writer of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, was originally selected to write Kang Dynasty. And again, another scoop from Mr. Jeff Snyder says that he is off of the movie, and he was off before the writer's strike happened. Marvel is now going to have to start from scratch with a new writer, but clearly not until after the writer's strike is over.
Right.
Whenever that's going to happen.
Well, I guess not right.
What's that?
I said right, and then I was like, wait, not right. There's no writing going on.
No writing at all happening. And he also said that this is likely due, at least in part, to the bad reviews that Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania received.
Disney and all right, soapbox.
Yeah,
time. like why does one movie influence another? Like, it may be a completely different source material. It may be something completely different. Like, look at Star Wars with Rian Johnson. Rian Johnson, after The Last Jedi, before it came out and got completely panned, the like Kennedy and everybody else at Lucasfilm thought that was going to be the next big thing, and they immediately mentioned a trilogy, and like
they greenlit him a trilogy.
Yeah.
That's how well the production of The Last Jedi went. It's how much they loved working with Rian Johnson.
Right. Showed up on time, under budget. Like, everything went smooth as butter. And then after the controversy caused by The Last Jedi, they now Ryan's back doing Glass Onion and the Knives Out stuff, and like
we talk all the time, but it's just about finding the right time to do it.
So it's like, why does everything ebb and flow off of a different movie that would have had a different script, a different feel, a different treatment from your upper management, like from producers, from the studio, from all sorts of stuff? Like, I don't get it. Quantumania and this are very different movies.
If that's true, like maybe he wrote a draft and then they didn't like it. You know, like that could have just been it too. Like maybe they didn't like the direction that he took the movie. But like if it is at all based on reviews, that's like 5 years ago Warner Brother shit. You know, like super reactionary 10 years ago when they, reacting to the negative reviews for Batman, Superman. It's like, oh, we have to re-edit Suicide Squad and make it seem like it's a different movie. You know?
Right. Let's change this drastically,
just dumb stuff like that. So, so we'll see if Kang Dynasty is gonna still be on track now that it is not currently in production. Really, it's not even being written, I guess, right now because there's a strike and they don't have a writer, or if they do, they haven't announced it, and even if they do, that writer is on strike,
right?
Or they're scabbing. So, and that's bullshit. So don't do that. By the way, I did finally watch Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and I did not hate it. I didn't love it.
No, but, like I said when I like talked to you, it's a fun, like if you go in without ultra hype, like grab
Yeah.
a bucket of popcorn and enjoy yourself. Like
Yeah.
it's an enjoyable movie. It's not
Yeah.
cinema, but it's an enjoyable movie.
I thought the story was really good.
Yeah.
Like it was much better than I thought. The Kang stuff was cool. How they like worked him into the universe and kind of like set that character up.
Yep.
I don't think I laughed at any of the jokes. I don't think any of the humor really landed for me, and I definitely saw some not great CGI. Like I thought the backgrounds looked really good, but Paul Rudd standing in front of it clearly looked like a green screen.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think that was done well. And man, MODOK just looked like a joke to me. Like
Oh, MODOK looked like a joke the whole time. And the first time, it's
dumb.
MODOK was so weird in that movie because the first time I saw him, it took me out of it. And then by the end, I was like, this works perfectly. Like, that's a great MODOK. I don't know how that worked.
Yeah,
for
I
me.
never.
I was like, the first couple of times I saw him, I'm like, oh God. And then by the end, I was like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it just looked like they didn't try to make it look real or natural in any way. They're just like, well, let's take a picture of his face and we're gonna stretch it so it's big, but that's like that just looks dumb. I don't know. It doesn't.
Right, and I think that's what they were going for, but also like,
I guess. But,
okay,
like, yeah. Yeah, I didn't hate it. I mean, I liked it more than the second one, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
There you go.
So
well,
anyway,
speaking of sequels,
what's that?
Speaking of sequels.
Oh yeah, speaking of sequels, and things changing. We got some leaked set photos from Captain America 4, which is currently shooting, showing that Sam Wilson, the new Captain America, has a new suit, a radically different one from the one that we saw him debut in at the end of Falcon Winter Soldier. This one kind of looks more just like a kind of a regular Steve Rogers Captain America suit. And Steve, have you seen these pictures? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it looks like a generic Captain America suit.
Yeah, so
R.I.P. comic accurate Sam suit. Like that was great.
That suit at the end of Falcon Winter Soldier was perfect. It looked amazing.
Well, and even if you're going to tone it down, like I get like, yes, that was over the top, that was comic accurate, like the whole nine. Even if you're going to tone it down, like keep some of the same feel, some of the same highlights, something like the primary
like the white in it.
and
I thought it was so good.
Oh yeah,
I loved it.
It looked great. But here we are.
What are you doing? Why? Like, I don't know. Maybe they think that it's needs to look more like Captain America for people to recognize that it's Captain America. But I don't know. I think audiences are smarter than that. Just the movie's called Captain America, and he's going to be on the poster. Like, we'll figure it out. He's wearing a red, white, and blue costume. That must be Captain America. Like, how is that hard to figure out?
It's
just because the costume
very
is
difficult.
slightly different.
It is extremely difficult, man.
Yeah, I mean, at least he was still wearing like his goggles and not like a helmet. If he was like in just a straight Steve Rogers costume with a helmet and everything, I would have been like, "What are we doing?" And I'm still a little bit like that just because of the Falcon suit was so good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
now
it's not really a story. That's all we got there. But
in those shots as well, we did have confirmation that Danny Ramirez will be playing Joaquin Torres as the Falcon as well.
The new Falcon.
Yep.
Yeah. So that'd be cool.
So Danny Ramirez was the guy who played, I guess, the go-between or
like
ancillary, like a
liaison
kind of type
sidekick helper guy in Falcon Winter Soldier. Yeah.
To Sam. So shut up, Siri. I got that's what I thought. Like, okay, cool.
She's agreeing with us.
Yeah,
she also does not like the Captain America.
Perfect. We got it.
Also, real quick, while we're talking about Marvel stuff, I didn't put this on the rundown because it's a rumor and who cares, but I thought it was interesting. Jeff Snyder also said that he heard that Marvel in Fantastic Four casting news really tried to get for Sue Storm, which apparently Sue Storm is like a big role in Fantastic Four. Like the movies almost centered on her, like it's a star role, and that they tried to get Emma Stone for Sue Storm, and she asked for a certain amount of money, and they said we can't do that, so she said no.
Okay.
Which ties back into what we just talked about, like Disney's trying to pull back on budgets and not like overspending stuff, which is also what we're about to talk about in a second here too.
Yeah, but at the same time, for
seems like
Sue
the theme.
Storm, you drop the bag.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
For the
Like,
first family, you drop the bag.
Yeah, and like if it's an important role, you want someone that can pull it off, like
Yeah.
an Emma Stone,
Right.
you know? So I don't know. Oh, the other casting rumor that I thought was cool. I should have said this when we were talking about Superman stuff, but there was a rumor that James Gunn was talking to a member of the Guardians cast to be somebody in Superman Legacy, and Jeff Snyder said that cast member he was talking to was Bradley Cooper, and he was talking to him about Lex Luthor. I think that would be cool.
That would be. I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's no word on whether or not that's going to happen, but
my brain is now picturing a bald Bradley Cooper.
I think Bradley Cooper is an incredible actor.
Oh,
I think everything I've ever seen him in, he knocks me out. I think he's super committed, he's super likable, and he's just so talented. Like, did you see A Star Is Born?
Yeah. Yep.
With him and Lady Gaga. He's so good in that movie. Like,
Yeah.
I believed he was a different person in that movie.
What the hell?
That's how good I thought it was.
What was the old hold on. There was a movie he was in with Jennifer Laura, Silver Linings Playbook.
Oh, Silver Linings Playbook. Yeah.
I was like,
Great in that.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
He's also in a recent Guillermo del Toro movie called Nightmare Alley.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Nice.
Phenomenal. And how much of he's got a small cameo in a movie that you and I were talking about recently that I don't know if either of us have finished, but we have both started, the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves.
Oh my god, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I
was like, is that Bradley Cooper?
Yes.
What?
I remember hearing that he was being cast and like that ultimately came out it was a cameo, but like that was great.
So does he just like really like Dungeons and Dragons? Because I feel like why do you don't need to get Bradley Cooper for that small of a part? Like that's a small
pun
like,
intended.
No pun intended. Small role. Like, is he just like, yo, I love D&D. Yeah, get me into that movie. You know,
I don't know, maybe.
But
huh.
We're like a little less than halfway through it, but enjoying it.
I'm in the same boat. Like
it's so much fun.
Now I've got to go restart it after I found out my wife wants to watch it. So
right, yeah. It's fun. It's great watching a movie when you're looking at the actors. You can tell they are having a blast in that movie, and specifically, I mean, Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, and Hugh Grant, who I forgot was in it. Like Hugh Grant is having the time of his life.
Oh, the first time he showed, like in the first couple of seconds when he showed up, I was like, "What? Oh yeah, I remember that."
Yeah, super fun movie.
Even like
wish I'd seen
Reggie Jean Page there, like playing the
yes.
ultra serious. It's just this complete turn on anything. Yeah, it's just really really solid.
It's a lot of fun, very fun, funny. Speaking of Disney tightening their belts, and making huge mistakes, I guess maybe also, it was announced this week that Disney World, Florida, is permanently closing the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser Hotel. Final day will be September 28th. It's hard not to say this without laughing.
Our dreams are over, Mike.
Our dreams are over.
Our dreams that neither of us were ever going to afford are over.
I was gonna say my dream of this was over as soon as they announced how much it cost to go, and I was like, "Oh, I guess I'm never doing that."
Right.
So
yeah, there was no aspirations after that number of zeros dropped. I was like, okay, cool, that's fun.
Yeah. So Disney overestimated the amount of people that wanted to spend $6,000 to stay inside a windowless hotel for 2 full days, I guess.
Apparently.
And
to go to the park for whatever
2 hours.
Yeah, that I was like, I know you said it before, but
yeah, you get to go to Galaxy's Edge for 2 hours, and other than that, your entire time there is strictly regimented, and you're doing this, then you're doing this, then you're doing this, then you're doing this.
Right.
What? $6,000,
And
and you
right.
go outside for 2 hours in 2 days.
The people that would want to do it, there are dozens of us. I just don't.
Yeah, and
the cost.
the people that can afford to do it, there are dozens of them, and they.
Right.
If this was cheaper, I've said this before, I would be there opening day.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Like both you and me.
Yep.
When they announced this, I was like, I'm going to this I'm going to this as soon as it opened.
And then they about a month later, they were like, and this is how much it costs. And you're like, nope, not happening.
No.
For anyone who didn't know, this experience, as Mike has described it, was I believe for a family of 2 adults and 2 kids would have been $6,000 for a 2-night stay.
Yep.
Which is over the top excessive. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's touted as this like ultra immersive. You feel like you're in space. You feel like you're in the Star Wars universe, and all that's fine, but that's a lot of money for going to the park for 2 hours. Like Disney's already super expensive. Like,
well, think
you just
about
make
that.
it a Star Wars
$6,000.
themed hotel,
Yeah.
and then you can just stay there and then go to Disney World. You don't have to be locked in for 2 days.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the next steps. Is like, okay, you already have the husk of whatever you had.
You've got the infrastructure there.
Right.
Yeah.
Just throw a different branding on it and call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, you and I were kind of talking like, why do we think they didn't just try lowering the price?
I have no good answer for that.
Like, I think they were giving like a discount, but like a 15% off $6,000 is not enough.
Well,
like,
and
just
it was
lower
only,
it by like a few grand. I don't know.
Yeah, it was only for like Disney Visa card holders and like Disney Vacation Club members and like the people that are already going to Disney, which is not who you're like. I never even thought of a Disney Vacation Club member.
I know.
Like, what? Okay, cool. Like for
just
$6,000, you can take said family of 4 to the parks and stay on resort for like 6 days, like something like that. Like
for way longer.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
you can go hang out on Batu for 3 days alone.
Yeah,
and then go see the other 3 parks, and still be cheaper than going to Galaxy's Edge for 2 nights.
Yes, dude. Yes. So, and like from what I saw like, posts online, people that were there taking pictures. Like it looked cool, but it didn't look $6,000 cool.
Right.
Like for that amount of money, I need aliens and droids walking all over that place, and I barely saw any. I saw like 1 or 2 on the thing, and like also I think I'm sure we've talked about this before, probably in this exact podcast, but the look of the Galactic Starcruiser is very like rich person like Canto Bite, you know what I mean? It's all like clean and pristine and like prequel-y, and not like that's not the kind of Star Wars I want to hang out in. I want to hang out in the dingy cantina. I want to go to Olga's cantina on Galaxy's Edge, and I don't want to just hang out in rich person Star Wars. That's not the cool Star Wars. The cool Star Wars is the
most dingy, wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Hive of scum and villainy. That's where I want to hang out. Yeah, I want to hang out and is hanging around outside. I don't want to, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what they need to do is, just take the first floor of it, turn it into Wur's Cantina, and like go from there. There's your baseline.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would love it if it just became like another Disney prop, like a hotel.
Yeah.
Like a stand, like just the Starcruiser on resort hotel, but it's not an immersive experience necessarily,
Yeah.
Then I'm totally in. Amazing. I'm going.
Yeah, I think they overestimated. There we go. Use the right superlative there. I think they overestimated the sheer number of people that want to go and LARP for 2 days and spend a shit ton of money to do it.
I think they overestimated the amount of money that those people had.
Right.
I don't think they overestimated. Like, there's a lot of people that would love to go to that Star Wars hotel. I'm one of them. You're one of them too. But like, we don't have $6,000 to go for 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all.
So
anyway, if you were looking to book that hotel, you better do it quick because the final day is September 28th. Moving into some comics news. This is barely news. I just thought it was fun. DC announced a summer swimsuit issue. everybody is familiar with the character of Nort, the Green Lantern, who's kind of like a dumb dog, but also like, you know, good enough to wield a Green Lantern ring, apparently. Um, this, in a clever bit of wordplay, Nort is going to be a central part of the DC Nort's Illustrated Swimsuit Issue. Clever. It's going to be 48 pages of just DC characters in their summer swimwear. So it's kind of just like pinups of your favorite DC characters in probably like skimpy swimwear. It's coming out August 23rd, pretty late in the summer for a summer swimsuit issue, I gotta say. But fun nonetheless. And I feel like, when they do something like this, they bring out a bunch of different artists, and it'll just be like a fun, book to have, I guess. Not necessarily any kind of worthwhile story going on. But if you want to look at your favorite characters in skimpy clothing, skimpier than you normally get to see them in your favorite comic books week to week, month to month, check out the Nort's Illustrated Swimsuit Issue on August 23rd.
So it's a Jim Lee thing, isn't it? Because he was the man. He was the man behind the 1991 X-Men swimsuit issue back in the day.
I'm sure that he's got a page or two, probably. Yeah, Steve and I were kind of talking about this before we started, that they used to do X-Men swimsuit issues in the 90s, and they kind of fell out of fashion, just because of social awareness, I guess.
Right.
But it should be said that, this is not just women. This will be like male and female characters. And also, Steve and I were also talking about how, as comics can be criticized, I guess, for showing, too much skin or like scantily clad people in tights or whatever. But I think you can justify that if you're writing good characters and, people that, there's people on the right, there's a-hole Comicsgate people that are like, women should just be toys basically in these books and should only be there to, titillate me. And I think those people are kind of missing now, like current mainstream comics. You can kind of have your cake and eat it too, where, you can have super sexy bodies all over the place in comics. As long as you're writing them well, then kind of, you can have it both ways.
You realize as soon as you said stupid sexy, the only thing that came into my brain was Flanders, right?
Flanders, yeah. Yes. Stupid sexy Flanders, yeah.
It's a given.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm pumped for the North Illustrated swimsuit issue. I'll definitely be picking that up. Speaking of comics, this week, your local comic book store, 007 for King and Country, #1, new James Bond book on the shelves this week. Action Comics 1055, City Boy #1, Daredevil and Echo #1, Darkwing Duck #5, Dune, House of Harkonnen #5, Fury #1. It's a Nick Fury book coming out, I think, just in time for Secret Invasion. Green Arrow #2, Harley Quinn #30, Hellcat #3, Nightwing #104, Sandman Universe Dead Boy Detectives #6, Spider-Man 2099 I didn't write the number down.
Is this the first one after the Dark Genesis stuff, or?
No, this is it's the after Dark Genesis. This is the new miniseries.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And I think it's on issue. Listening to a episode of Word Balloon comic book podcast. Was an interview with Steve Orlando, the writer of the current Spider-Man 2099 run. And the interviewer was like, "Wow, yeah, they're really, because this book's going weekly this month, all of May. This book's coming out once a week." And Steve Orlando said, "Yeah, it's almost like there's some big movie coming out with Spider-Man 2099 in it, and they want content out around that, talking about Across Spider-Verse." So yeah, comics, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, never would have
Star Wars
push that.
Yeah, Star Wars Darth Vader Black, White, and Red #2. Star Wars The High Republic #10. Storm #1. New #1 solo series for one of the coolest X-Men around. Thor #34. Tim Drake Robin #9. Unstoppable Doom Patrol #3. Vanish #7. Vampirella versus the Superpowers #1. And What's the Furthest Place from Here #13. Steve, you picking up any of these books from your local comic book store? You getting Darth Vader Black, White, and Red? Because you missed that first one.
I missed the first one. I'm definitely getting the second one. So yeah, that'll be good. Have you had a chance to read the first one?
Yes, it was very cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I wish I had it in front of me because I don't remember the artists. There was one that was like, I don't think there was any words in it at all, and it was just like a visual thing that was pretty like out there.
Yeah,
but also astounding. Like I
love when they do that sort of
and
stuff.
I'm not even sure what the story was, but it was just great. I just really, really loved it.
Yep.
Some just very interesting visual interpretations of stuff. It was great. So yeah, I might be picking up #2 as well.
Yeah, definitely definitely in that High Republic, of course. Curious on Daredevil and Echo. I'll probably grab it. I've been picking up the Zdarsky run. I was talking to our friends down at Funky Town, and Jesse was saying that Daredevil is actually the book currently that has pulled the most for him, like for his subscribers.
Oh wow! Yeah. Really?
So Zdarsky's Daredevil is
not just Marvel book, but like
just
overall.
Book period. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wild. Surprised the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And I haven't started the new Zdarsky run. I have all of them. I have not started it yet because, well, time.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there with the floppies waiting, just biding my time. So I don't know. I probably will grab the Daredevil and Echo just for the hell of it. I did pick up all of the back Poison Ivies that I had missed except for 7.
Oh, dope.
So I'm now up to floppies for all of them except 7.
Oh, cool.
So I can actually keep going on that story now, which was awesome, and then disappeared on me.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's really, really good. I spent some time organizing my comic book collection this week, which is something I have not done in a long time.
Nice.
I had a big stack of books that needed bags and boards. Got all those squared away and placed in my short boxes. So it's fun. It's always fun to be like, oh yeah, I forgot I had this. Oh yeah, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, like it's fun to visit your old friends.
So I found half the books that are up. Well, I probably can't see them on the actual broadcast, but my display books.
I got to I have to get something like that, or like some frames or something, so I can actually show off some cool ones. Not just have
I'll show you
boxes over there.
I'll show you after the show. Amazon. I literally just picked up. They're like clear plastic little shelves that you can put books on.
Oh, cool.
Kind of designed for it, and it's like I kind of want to just put 6 of them up and then rotate through whatever books are on them, and that's my display. So,
oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
I would like that. Cool. All right. Well, we got a couple one-shots for you tonight, Steve. Why don't you kick off that first one? I feel like we've had a few of this kind of thing specifically for this movie.
We have. This one is slightly better than the last one we announced.
True.
Since our prior announcement for more cast returning for Deadpool 3 was that Peter was coming back. Which, awesome in itself, but this week we also have confirmed that Brianna Hildebrand and Shioli Kutsuna have signed back on to return as Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Yukio, respectively. So, two fan favorites that are back in the saddle. It seems Deadpool 3's lining up to be a bit of a, I don't know, like we're getting all of these guys back, and then also Logan. And I'm wondering if was it you that brought it up, or was I talking to somebody else where it was like maybe they're back for like 3 minutes and that's it.
I mean, yeah, you never know.
Yeah,
you don't know because we don't even know how much Hugh Jackman's going to be in it. Like,
right?
Is he? Is this going to be? We've heard that this is going to be Deadpool versus the TVA. He's going to be jumping around in timelines, and is Logan just going to be in one of those timelines? Is he just in one segment of the movie and then Wade jumps to somewhere else? And yeah, these characters could just be there to like acknowledge, like, yes, we acknowledge that these are characters in this universe. Goodbye. I, Deadpool, am going to move into the MCU and you will stay over here. You know, like,
Yeah.
we don't know. We don't know. But I think it would be, I feel like knowing that this is probably the last R-rated Deadpool movie that we're going to get before he is full on. I mean, this is a full on MCU movie, I guess.
This
but
is
like,
full on MCU.
I feel like this is still like, this is the end of the original Deadpool trilogy. So whatever loose ends they're going to tie up, they're going to tie up. And whether or not these two characters move on into the MCU or not remains to be seen. Something tells me that these two are going to end up being loose ends that get tied up and they won't necessarily be showing up in Deadpool 4 or whatever.
All right.
But I would love it if they do. I like this little, like, we didn't get Deadpool as part of the X-Men. We didn't get him. We got a joke about X-Force. We didn't really see him put X-Force together, but like, he's got this little crew. You know what I mean? He's got Colossus, and he's got Negasonic Teenage Warhead. He's got Yukio. He's got even like Cable and Domino. Like, he's got like his little team. And I don't think we've heard anything about Josh Brolin coming back as Cable, but so he's probably out. But even like Dopinder and Blind Al, like, he's got these like he's got a crew, and it's almost, for this version of Deadpool, it's more fitting for him to have like a ragtag team of misfits than to be, with other expert mutant people, I guess. So I don't know. But anyway, glad they're back for sure.
I was going to say, no matter how they end up shaping it up, I'm sure this team they'll find a way to do it right.
Yeah, I agree. Taking them so long, I hope that they are doing something good.
One would hope.
Yep. Speaking of hope, last story we're talking about tonight is just general. The first reactions for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny came out this past week, and they were mixed. I would say mixed to positive from what I saw. I didn't see anyone that really hated it. But also, I feel like I didn't necessarily expect this to be all A pluses across the board, because like, I think there's really one Indiana Jones movie that is known as A pluses across the board, and all the other ones are very debatable.
Yeah,
like, pretty much
different levels of debatable, but yes,
different levels of debatable. Pretty much everyone loves Raiders of the Lost and acknowledges that that's the best one. But to my point, you and I had a conversation last month with a good friend of ours, who ranks Raiders third out of the 4 Indiana Jones movies. So like, those people are out there too. But pretty much across the board, everyone acknowledges Raiders is a masterpiece, or is a great movie, is the best one. And then from there, people love Temple of Doom. People hate Temple of Doom. People love Last Crusade. People hate Last Crusade. No one really, I don't know anyone that really loves Crystal Skull. But all these movies are like debatable, and so I don't think it's gonna be bad, because James Mangold is a great director.
Yeah.
So I like trust him for sure. So I don't think it's gonna be bad. It may I don't think it's going in expecting it to be Raiders of the Lost Ark is a mistake for sure. But
go in expecting Last Crusade and see how you come out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't expect Crystal Skull. It's not going to be that bad.
I'm expecting more than Crystal Skull, so I guess we'll see.
Actually, here you go. Personal indie ratings.
For me?
Yep.
Release order.
Okay.
Raiders #1, easy. Raiders is one of my favorite movies of all time. Then Temple of Doom, then Last Crusade, then distant fourth is Crystal Skull. How about you?
I'm probably a 1, 3, 2, 4.
It's close. I was 1, 3, 2, 4 for a very long time. I was 1, 3, 2, 4, and then just watching them within the last like few years, a couple times, I was like, Temple of Doom, problematic for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not perfect at times, but the stuff that works is like so good.
Yeah.
And batshit crazy over the top insanity that I was just like, this is great. This is wild.
Well,
And Last Crusade, in comparison, for me, Last Crusade pulls back from that so much that it feels a little too safe.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
So that loses points.
Which is one of the things we've heard about this. Dial of Destiny is safe. For me, Temple of Doom, in all honesty, it might just be one of those nostalgia things where in my brain, I was a way too young kid hearing Kali Ma and like scarring me for life.
Same, dude.
I'm like, is that a heart? What just happened?
Did his hand just go into that man's chest?
That just okay, cool.
Wait, is he still alive? That heart's still beating? What?
Oh, he's not alive now. Okay, cool.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so insane.
Was that movie was PG?
Yeah, that was the movie that I think there was such backlash about that movie being PG that they created PG-13 partly because of
Fair
Temple
enough.
of Doom.
It's understandable after thinking about that. Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
Raiders is PG too. Like like Jaws is PG. You know,
Right.
they only had G, PG, and like R or X. You know, for like a while. You know, so yeah, I had that fourth one to make it easier to tell.
They're like thinking about that. Like there is a lot of leeway between a PG, like what we think of as a PG movie, and in our movie.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But as you and I talked about recently, if this movie doesn't do well, or if it comes out and reviews are more Crystal Skull than they are Raiders, how long is it until we hear that James Mangold is no longer writing and directing the Star Wars Origins of the Jedi movie?
Yeah.
Because speaking earlier, as we spoke about reactionary studio decisions, Lucasfilm is definitely known for those in the last 5 to 10 years, shall we say. So
yeah, let him cook, man. Just let him cook.
I know. Especially like it's James Mangold. The guy made Logan, you know, like he's a great filmmaker.
Right.
He's a great filmmaker.
Yeah, just in all honesty, like the fact that he made Logan that's enough to get him a good number of free passes for, I mean, just about any superhero movie that he would want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And hey, if he gets kicked off of
I forgot.
Origins,
he also did
What?
310 to Yuma.
Yeah.
Walk the Line, Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah, Walk the Line.
He's done some. He's had some bangers.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. But I was about to say, hey, if he gets kicked off of Origins of the Force movie, then that just means I get a Swamp Thing movie sooner.
Also true.
Because then
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Definitely a lot of hype for James Mangold's future projects on this podcast for sure. We talk about him for years to come. But that's all I have for this week. Steve, do you have anything else?
No, I think we'll progress into Mangold Watch after Flash Watch is done.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Just tracking what James Mangold is doing.
Yeah, or when he's about to get fired from Lucasfilm.
Right. And if you're extremely interested in Mangold Watch, you can feel free to continue to follow us, like, subscribe, ring the bell to let you know when we go live. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps us out immensely as far as triggering the algorithm into getting more people to listen to our sultry voices. And beyond that, I think that might be a wrap, Mike.
I think so. So until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you in the multiverse.